The NFL does not want us to talk about this, but this is the Unafraid Show, and we have to talk about the dark truth buried in all of the fun of the NFL team schedule releases. Let's talk about it. In 2024, the NFL will be playing on Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. What? The NFL just released their 2024 schedules, and it's become obviously a fun event. Social media gets involved, the teams, they do all sorts of fun stuff, which I love. They're creative. Now, the Chargers, they're basically the New England Patriots with Tom Brady when it comes to the releases, and that's actually good to see them win something. But when you get past all the fanfare, the memes, something else stands out, and it's ugly. Now, this schedule puts up a giant middle finger to the health and player safety in favor of milking every last dollar out of the TV networks. Now, Warren Sharp put together a data-packed article getting into the nitty-gritty of something that he refers to as scheduling equity. Get this, the 2024 NFL schedule has 101 games out of the 272. That's 37%, where one team has a rest advantage over the opponent, which is the most in NFL history. The 2024 Baltimore Ravens will be at a massive advantage this year with a plus 16-day net rest edge, while the San Francisco 49ers will be at an enormous disadvantage with a 20-day net rest deficit. I wonder how that factors into injuries and recovery. So obviously not every team is affected in the same way, but one thing that puts everybody in the NFL at greater risk of injury is that Roger Goodell has decided to open the floodgates on bunch scheduling. There are nine different teams that will play 3 games over a 10-day span this year. And you might be saying, George, what's the big deal? Don't they do that all the time? No, it's only happened twice in the last 10 seasons. And we're going to go from twice in the last 10 years to 9 times in 1 year and think that there are going to be no consequences. On top of that, 7 teams this year will play 4 games over a 17-day span. Now, that usually happens on average of once per year as a forced anomaly, but 7 times in one season? Oh, yeah, that's pretty intentional. And all this is done for one reason: to give the NFL's broadcast partners value for the billions that they pour into the league. Think about this. They're playing games on Netflix on Christmas in the middle of the week. Come on, man. But is there anything less valuable than a primetime standalone game featuring a cast of backups because the starters didn't have sufficient amount of time to heal up? Come on, man. You're sacrificing the product that you're trying to sell. And Roger Goodell is going to do whatever the owners and broadcast partners want. He's not pushing back against anybody in the name of player safety, and we know this. But he could take a page out of Dana White's book over at the UFC. And of course, MMA is dangerous. You could die in the ring. But of the 20 recorded deaths that have resulted from sanctions mixed martial arts contests, not a single one has occurred in the UFC. Why? Because Dana White makes sure that health and safety is their number one priority. Here's what Dana White had to say last year when a pre-fight brain scan revealed that Josiah Harrell had a rare brain disease just before his short notice debut bout.
We spend millions and millions of dollars on health and safety. It is the most important thing that we focus on and that we care about as far as putting on fights.
Now, are professional football or mixed martial arts ever going to be safe? No. Hell no. And that's part of the reason why they're both so popular. There's an inherent risk and dangerous edge that keeps viewers captivated. NASCAR is the exact same way. But when Dana White says that health and safety is the most important thing, you have to believe him. Could Roger Goodell say that with a straight face after releasing a schedule that has over 1/3 of the games with one team on a rest deficit? Or with 9 instances of teams playing 3 games in 10 days, when that happens on average of once every 5 years? Roger Goodell and the owners that he represents' way of caring about player safety is to acknowledge the inherent risks of the sport and then push back against the idea that the NFL is linked to future health issues and then do nothing. We know this because just recently, Roger Goodell's 9-hour deposition in the concussion lawsuit deliberations was unsealed. For those who are unfamiliar with what's going on behind the scenes, the NFL has paid out over $1.3 billion so far to thousands of ex-players who allege their brain issues and injuries were caused by participation in football that the league knew was dangerous and didn't do anything about it. Prime example. When I was in the NFL, I was issued a helmet. In the beginning of the season, they come, which helmet do you want? Like what brand of helmets? They had 3 or 4 brands. And then I wore the one that I had consistently worn. And I got a really bad concussion that year. And then I was told I need to change my helmet. Okay, cool. Why do I need to change my helmet? Equipment guy says, George, how long have you been wearing this brand of helmet? I was like, since I was in high school. He said, you wouldn't keep a car for 10 years, would you? I was like, no, probably not. So why would you wear the same helmet? And I was like, what do you mean? This is one of the options that was available to me. If it was subpar, it's not like I could go out and buy my own helmet and then wear that one. Then why was that an option for me? Come on now. And in July of 2022, Roger Goodell was still out here saying, I think that there's a great deal of uncertainty about the causation issue. What? That's right, people. As of less than 2 years ago, the commissioner of the NFL was on record saying he wasn't sure that concussions sustained in the NFL can have adverse effects later in life. What? Speaking of brain damage, is there a more soft brain take than I'm still not sure smashing heads together has consequences in 2022, 10 years after Dave Durson and Junior Seau shot themselves in the chest so that their brains could be studied? Roger Goodell said in that deposition, we all know that there are risks to playing football and other sports. There's risks walking down the street. It ain't the same thing, fam. Yes, there are risks to walking down the street. But the NFL making over a fourth of the league play 3 games in less than a week and a half isn't like walking down the street. It's like pitching a tent on a freeway. One involves inherent risk, and the other invites drastic consequences. Let's just hope that Roger Goodell's lack of empathy and concern for the players that help justify his $60 million a year and damn near $1 billion career earning salary just as much as the TV networks do, doesn't have the same disastrous consequences that it's already had for so many others. But even if it does, we know him and the owners, they won't care. Let that sink in.